Disclaimer, the images and video clips you are about to see in this video are owned by New Line Cinema, who are owned by Warner Brothers. Please support the official release by buying the DVDs, Blu-rays, or watching on streaming services. Thank you. Hi. So today, we're going to be looking at the next Austin Powers movie. A movie that surprisingly got made. I only say this because the first movie never really did too well financially when it first came out. Granted, I wasn't born when it came out, but you get the idea if you were around at the time. However, it did make a lot of money through video rentals. And because of that newfound niche popularity, a second movie was greenlit. And this movie came out around the same time as Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, so yeah, in the original trailer for the movie, they make it look like a trailer to Star Wars, and the joke at the end is that it's Dr. Evil, and they're promoting to go see Star Wars. And if you couldn't, because, well, at the time everyone wanted to see it, so that the chance the movie was sold out, so they recommended you go see this instead. And actually, it's kind of funny to think about it, because imagine going to see a trailer to a movie, and all they do is tell you to go watch something else. I don't know, that's just funny to me. And this movie, I don't know, like, when I was growing up, we had this and the next movie on VHS, so I have more nostalgia with this than the next movie. But let's put it on and see if it's still pretty good, even after all this time. The movie begins with an opening title crawl. Hey, wait a minute. I thought this was Austin Powers, not Star Wars. Oh, wait, never mind. There's Dr. Evil's ship from the end of the last movie, where he then proceeds to go back to Earth. But then we cut to Austin and Vanessa still enjoying their honeymoon like at the end of the last movie. But then Vanessa starts acting weird, like first she starts repeating some of the things she says, and then when Austin tries to watch TV, she starts reacting to the TV remote, and Austin quickly pieces together she's a fembot, who was apparently sent to him by Dr. Evil, and yeah, she ends up blowing herself up in an attempt to destroy Austin, which Austin is saddened by because he actually did love her. But then he makes this realization.
Wait a tick. That means I'm single again! Oh, behave!
Alright, so this part here is similar to the honeymoon scene in the last movie, seeing how it still takes place during said honeymoon, where the opening credits is just Austin walking around the hotel butt naked, and yeah, they do try to censor him, but yeah, it's too risque for me to think it's okay to put on YouTube, so I'm just gonna cut it out and just do what I said before and just narrate what happens. Which I just did, so let's just move on. Then, after Austin celebrates the fact that he's single again, we cut to a military base where we see that one of the workers, instead of doing their job, decides to watch Jerry Springer, where we see that Scott is actually a guest on the show, and they have a surprise for him. Yeah, they got Dr. Evil, which I'll admit, that's one way to announce to the world that you're back, and yeah, everything quickly gets chaotic with Dr. Evil saying this.
The world is mine! The world is mine!
We would have thought the best way to find a criminal would be through work incompetence. Then we cut back to Austin, who is still kind of mourning the death of Vanessa, but Basil kind of brushes it off by saying they knew all along. But then Austin gets a new assignment to go to a photo shoot where one of the models is actually working for Dr. Evil, and after a kind of weird photo shoot, he asks her out for like a little private evening, which she actually agrees to. Then we see Dr. Evil's new base, which is a Starbucks, which I'll admit is kind of fitting, where we end up seeing number 2 still alive and still working for him, God knows why. And he tries to tell them that if they just ditch the whole evil organization bit, they can make more money, but he blows off the idea. Then later on, he brings up that while he was frozen, they tried to clone him, and well, here's the result.
He is exactly like you in every way. Except 1/8 your size.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, you swapped out my DVD of Austin Powers 2 with Space Jam 2! The nerve of some people. And here's his clone, who he gives the name Mini-Me. Then Dr. Evil goes on to say his next evil plan, and it involves taking out what Austin uses to defeat him every time. And what's that? His mojo. So, he built a time machine which he plans to use to take Austin Powers' mojo. With Scott obviously asking why not just kill Austin when he's sitting on the can, and he just says, no. Then he reveals the time machine and brings up that his master plan involves going to a point where Austin was still frozen waiting for him, claiming that would be the best part to take his mojo. And with that, he goes back in time. As soon as he remembers to turn on the machine, and when he does get it working, he goes back in time with Mini-Me back to 1969. 69. Where we end up meeting a younger version of number 2, and a younger version of Frau who looks the same, but I don't know, I get the joke is that she's not that appealing to look at, but she's clearly doing something right. She hasn't aged a day in 30 years. And we also see that his new base is a hollowed out volcano that looks like his face. Then we come back to Austin, who's still with the model who might be working for Dr. Evil, where they then go on to play chess, but after a while she just comes clean that she was hired to kill him, but she finds him attractive, God knows why, or they then go on to have sex. Then we cut back to Dr. Evil's lair, where number 2 brings up they did try to steal his mojo, but it was too heavily guarded. However, this time, Dr. Evil actually has an inside man, a gross-looking guy named Fat Bastard who tear gasses the guards and actually takes Austin Powers' mojo, which Austin immediately notices back in the 90s. And Basil's able to confirm that yes, Austin did lose his mojo, but luckily for them, they also have a time machine, with Austin getting confused trying to make sense of it, and Basil giving a response that I'm pretty sure every time travel movie should have.
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing and just enjoy yourself. That goes for you all, too.
Yes.
And with this, Austin goes back in time as soon as he remembers how to go forward, but once he gets it right, he makes it all the way back to the 60s, where he immediately starts partying and another woman just starts hitting on him, but then someone else joined in trying to warn him that the other person is working for Dr. Evil, and she proves to be right because later on she does signal an assassin to kill him, leading to a funny bit where he uses her the human shield, and then he does it again, and again, and again. And then Austin just flat out asks the same question that we're all thinking right now.
Why won't you die?
Then the blonde woman from earlier comes in to give him a ride, and here she introduces herself as Felicity, which Austin takes an immediate liking to. But then they start getting chased by another one of Dr. Evil's assassins, who doesn't take long to have drive off a cliff. But when he climbs back up, he tries to attack him, but he doesn't get very far, leading to a bit where they try to interrogate him for information, and the back and forth, I know it's supposed to be funny, but for me, I just found it kind of annoying. And after all the back and forth, the only information they get is that Dr. Evil has a secret volcano lair, but before they can figure out where it is, Mini-Me disguised as a baby shoots him with a dart, which causes him to fall off a cliff. Then we cut back to Dr. Evil's secret volcano lair, conveniently, where we see Fat Bastard give Dr. Evil the mojo, and when Mini-Me comes in to give him the money, he kind of looks at him weird and says he wants to eat him. It's kind of weird, but I don't know, depending on your sense of humor, this could be funny. Especially this bit where he tries to grab him, but due to his weight, he can't exactly reach him. And now that Dr. Evil has Austin's mojo, he ends up drinking it, and just like Austin, he becomes irresistible to women, leading to a scene where him and Frau get freaky. Then we see Austin and Felicity going to the crime scene where Austin's mojo is taken, where Austin takes a bunch of pictures of himself, because why not? Then we get a pretty nice montage of them just enjoying each other's company in England. Then we cut back to Dr. Evil and Frau, where they start talking about, well, what happened, and she keeps telling him that she's late, leading to Scott showing up, and if you can't piece together what this means, don't worry, the movie's end credits will do so. And the reason Scott is here is because he wants to try and make a connection with Dr. Evil, but he tells him no because now he has Mini-Me. Then we see Austin looking over all the pictures he took of himself, and through one of them, he is able to figure out how his mojo was taken, but then Felicity starts hitting on him, and due to the fact that he doesn't have his mojo, he tells her no and leaves, leading to her getting a mission from Basil to put a tracking device on Fat Bastard. And the way she does it is by getting in bed with him and sticking it up his ass, which she is clearly not too excited about. Then we go back to Dr. Evil, who starts explaining his next evil plan, and it involves putting a laser on the moon to blow up Washington, D.C., which he refers to as a Death Star. And of course, Scott starts laughing at how stupid this is. And then we get a bunch more jokes, including one where Dr. Evil makes number 2 cry. Then we cut back to Austin and Felicity, where Austin tells her that the reason he left last night was not because he didn't like her, but because he lost his mojo, which she is thankfully happy about. But then they get a reading on the tracker she placed on Fat Bastard, and when they go to check it out, yeah, he kind of pooped it out and just left it floating in a toilet, which everyone's disgusted by, but since they need to analyze it, they call in the hazmat team to go grab it. We then cut to them at the lab where Basil comes in with the results, and yeah, they found traces of a vegetable that only grow on one island, which they figured, yeah, that's probably where the base is, and even Austin discovers something about the stool sample after drinking it.
It's a bit nutty.
And if you want to know why he drank it, well, I can't spoil all the jokes or else you would have no reason to watch the movie. Then we cut back to Dr. Evil, who calls the President of the United States, and when he shows off his death laser, Mini-Me is humping it, so yeah, off to a pretty bad start. But then when he makes his money demands, they start laughing at him for how high it is, so he retaliates in kind.
Fire the laser!
He's just kidding, that was just a clip from the movie Independence Day, but apparently the real laser works something like that. And then he just goes off making 90s references, which they don't get because, remember, this is the 60s, and I don't know, the joke here is either hit or miss depending on what you find funny. Then later, we see Austin and Felicity make it to Dr. Evil's island, and I love when they make it to shore, they show this sign, which, I don't know, I just think it's funny how they're trying to be a secret lair, and yet they have a sign that just flat out tells them what it is. Then as they set up camp, some of the guards catch up to them, yet for some reason they start getting grossed out. I don't know why, they're just unpacking, and this one guard is just being way too overdramatic.
These people make me sick.
But then number 2 tells Dr. Evil that they're on the island, and he asks for them to be captured alive, leading into a scene where he starts rapping and dancing to just the two of us, and oh, I mean, it is kind of fun, and it's also pretty hilarious just seeing all the other minions just get really into it. And then we cut back to the guards who just now decide to capture Austin and Felicity. I don't know why it took them so long. Where they get taken to Dr. Evil's secret volcano lair, and it's here where Austin learns that Felicity actually slept with Fat Bastard to get the tracker on him, which does make him a little sad, but also a good contrast to the last movie where he slept with someone else, angering Vanessa. And Dr. Evil, of course, starts making fun of him with his mojo, saying he's going to take it to the moon, right before he sends him to a prison cell. And like last time, Scott gets angry that he doesn't just kill them all now, leading to Mini-Me drawing a picture of Scott saying he wants him dead. All of this leading to Dr. Evil and Mini-Me about to go to the moon, and when they take off in their rocket, all we get is one really long dick joke about what it looks like. Pun intended, I might add. Then we see Austin and Felicity get thrown into a jail cell with an opening floor into lava, and just one inept guard that they can easily take out. And before they do that, they do bicker a bit, but thankfully through some nice words to one another, they do reconcile. And they easily escape by tricking the guard into falling into the lava pit, leading to Austin making jokes about him getting burned to death. Then we cut to Dr. Evil's new moon base, which surprisingly did not take long to set up. And he also brings up how the laser within 6 hours will be in targeting distance or position to blow up Washington, D.C. unless they pay him his money. All this leading to Austin taking the Apollo 11 mission to the moon, which, granted, I will give him points for actually getting that right, since that mission did happen in 1969, but they have 6 hours to stop the laser. The Apollo 11 mission literally took 3 days, so yeah, that's kind of a plot hole in this movie. Then we get a funny bit where Dr. Evil calls the president and tells him that he only has 30 minutes to give him his money. And out of frustration, the president actually considers blowing up the moon, with his general stopping him, asking if he's serious about it. But luckily for them, Austin and Felicity make it to the moon with time to spare, God knows how. And when they get in, Austin sees what he thinks is Dr. Evil, and when he shoots, the glass breaks, showing us a window that looks an awful lot like the interior of the Death Star. Like the real one, not this one. And when he goes to investigate, he gets attacked by Mini-Me, who gives him quite a beating. But he's able to trap him in his suit and then throw him into space through a toilet vent, and yeah, the visual of him floating through space is kind of funny. All leading to Austin to stop Dr. Evil. However, he has Felicity held captive in a gas chamber, and when Austin goes to stop the laser, which doesn't take much effort, he sees that he's too late to save her, so out of rage, he goes after Dr. Evil and shoots him, but before he can kill him, Dr. Evil tells him this.
Austin? I am your father.
Really?
No, not really. I can't back that up.
But then he does tell him one truth. That being that he does have a time machine in the main chamber, which Austin, in theory, could go back a few minutes and save Felicity and save the world. But the real reason he tells him this was so he can buy enough time for Frau to scare off Austin, just so he cannot get killed. So Austin uses the time machine to go back 10 minutes, leading to there being now 2 Austin Powerses, and one can save Felicity and the other one can save the world. But then Dr. Evil reminds them that he still has their mojo, so he sets up the self-destruct and tosses it in the air, but they accidentally bump into each other and cause it to shatter, with Austin still trying to pick up any of it. But then Felicity tells him that even without his mojo, he did stop Dr. Evil, and yeah, he is still going to get laid after all this, which, yeah, I'll admit, it's actually not a bad thing to say. But so they make their way to the time machine to get out of there, where Austin convinced her to actually go back to the 90s with him, which thankfully doesn't take too long, and they make their way out of there. Then we cut to later on in the 90s, where Austin and Felicity seem to be enjoying their lives, until Fat Bastard comes in to finish the job, and this whole scene is mostly fat jokes at his expense. And this line.
I've not seen my Willie in 2 years, which is long enough to declare legally dead.
But then she kicks him in the balls, which is apparently all it takes to knock him out. Or they then go on to start partying like they're back in the 60s. Then we cut back to the 60s, where Dr. Evil retrieves Mini-Me, leading to more dick jokes about his rocket, and the movie coming to an end with him proclaiming he'll get Austin next time. Okay, that's not entirely true. There are a couple mid-credit sequences, one of which is Scott going back on Jerry Spring, where he learns that Frau is actually his mom, which they did hint at earlier in the movie, so I hope you remember that. And another bit where Austin and Felicity, as well as the other Austin, kind of just mess around. And that was my look at Austin Powers 2, and I gotta say, depending on what you're looking for, this movie could be seen as funnier than the first movie, and it's definitely more ambitious because the first movie was just a simple spy movie in Vegas for the most part. But this movie, it does escalate things by having his girlfriend, or at least wife at the time, get blown up because she was supposedly a robot. And they throw in time travel and space travel all at once. So, it is more ambitious. Is it funnier? Well, like I said before, it depends on your sense of humor. Like, I still find all 3 movies hilarious, but I have to watch the third one again. And if you like the first one, I think you'll like this one too. Will you like it more, or will you like it less? That's for you to decide. So, come back next time when we look at Austin Powers 3, Austin Powers and Goldmember.